but here I am. I was just asking Mark questions, and the question I was asking him was, what advice would he give to a recent college graduate?
That's a great question. It depends on what path they went. Now, are you talking strictly from a financial perspective or from a career perspective or a combination of both?
You know what? Let's do both.
Okay, cool. Yeah, from a financial perspective, there's no time like the present to start saving money and investing money. And the reason why I say that is, now I sound like a salesperson, right? You got to buy now. No, it's nothing like that. But what I learned when I was 18, the first thing they taught me was the rule of 72. And if you're not familiar with that rule, it answers the question, how many years will it take for my money to double at given interest rates? So it's actually a very simple calculation. You take the number 72. Now, why is it 72? I have no idea. Let's leave it up to a mathematician to figure that one out, okay? But so for example, let's say you're getting 1% at a bank. So you divide 1 into 72, that means 72. So 1 goes into 72, 72 times. So that means every 72 years, your money will double at 1% rate of return. So if you invest, let's say you're young, you invest, let's say $1,000 at a bank or save at $1,000 at a bank, you get a 1% return. So in 72 years, that money will go from 1,000 to $2,000. That's why people try to stay away from 1%, right? Now,
Right.
you get a 10% return. It's every 7.2 years that your money is going to start doubling. So it'll go from 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000 to 8,000 to 16, 32, 64, all the way up. Now you get a 12% return. It doubles every 6 years. So the point of it all is that we only have a certain number of doubling periods in our lifetime. So if your goal is to retire, let's say at age, your typical, 72 or 65, whatever. Well, if you start as early as you possibly can, you get more doubling periods. And then you want to look at the rate of return. You don't want to take a lot of risk, but you don't want to be safe either. Okay, especially when you're young. You definitely want to be more growth oriented when you're young, because you have time if the market crashes or something like that. Certainly have a lot of time to make up that deficit right there. So I would start saving money right now. So important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with the economy the way it is. We just never know. I don't think anybody was expecting the inflation that we have these days, but
Yeah, it's crazy inflation, and I mean, there's a multitude of reasons why that happened, but it's kind of like this. You think about the market, and we definitely do not talk about timing the market, but you can take a big step back and look at a really big view of it, and it's very simple. When the market really goes high, it's gonna come down, okay, like a roller coaster. But if the market is kind of going like this, well, then it's gonna correct itself and go like this, and so as the market explodes, like in the early 2000s, the market was just exploding. And I remember in those years, you want to be safe with your money. You want to be conservatively aggressive, if that makes sense, when you're younger, and then conservatively growth oriented when you're in your 30s or 40s, and then conservatively conservative when you're in your
Mhm.
60s and whatnot, right? And so I remember in those years, the 2000 years, when the market was going crazy,
Mhm.
I had a client that called me up, and I'm a conservative approach, in that sense,
Yeah.
conservative with growth. So because my whole mantra is, number one, preservation of capital. We do not want to lose our tail. Of course, there's always risk, in all of that, but you want to mitigate the risk as much as possible. And this client called me up, and they were upset. They said, my neighbor just got 120% rate of return on their aggressive growth fund, and your fund only got me 80%. Now, can you imagine someone upset about getting 80%? So I kind of chuckled a little bit, but I explained to him, I re-explained to him. So listen, we're long-term approach. We're not about
Mhm.
get rich quick. It's long-term. I said, because when the market corrects itself, and I said when, not if, because we don't know when it's coming, but we know it is going to come.
Yeah.
You look at the history, it's always been like that. So when the market crashed in '08, his account dropped, certainly did, but it only dropped by about 11%. Whereas his neighbor, I don't know exactly, but I'm sure, you're looking at the funds, he easily would have lost 50% or more.
Yeah.
So it's always about a conservative approach with growth orientation.
Yes, yes. I love that. I really do. It's just so important. Like money really does make the world go around, and without
Hmm.
having the knowledge to like be conservative with it or save it or you know, it can be disastrous for some people if they don't handle it well. So I really, really
Absolutely.
appreciate what you're doing. And I've learned a lot from you just listening to you today. So, how can my friends and family get in contact with you and your company?
Absolutely. It's a great question. I mean, our texting. I love text. Okay, I'm always busy and whatnot, but they can reach me on my, on our office line or my cell phone. I always, I'm open to that. My cell is 480-612-7771. And then my email is lunaisbig, the number 7 at gmail.com. My corporate one is kind of glitchy right now. So I just, do it with my personal. And we could always discuss anything we need, you want, and I'd be glad to help in any possible way. And it's a lot of fun.
And you work with all ages, correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We've got solutions for everyone. Now, granted, obviously, if someone is 55 and they want to retire at 60 and they have no money and this is like, they're not going to live they're not going to travel the world, right? So you can, but we could definitely make any person's situation better.
Sounds great. And thank you so much for taking time out today for talking with me. I appreciate you and I appreciate what you're
Absolutely.
doing.
And you like I said before, you've got a phenomenal podcast, and it's so entertaining and educational, and we appreciate everything that you're doing getting this information out.
Thank you. And I hope you have a
All
great
right.
day.
You too, Melissa. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.